The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Tully Anderson. 17 News is your local election headquarters. Nearly a month past the midterm election, we received another batch of results from the Kern County Elections Office last night. The ballot drop extending Melissa Hurtado's lead slightly in one of the most competitive races in the nation. We're talking about the 16th state Senate district, where Republican challenger David Shepard now trails by 24 votes. Before the last night's update, just 12 votes separated the two candidates. Earlier this week, Kern estimated it had about 100 ballots left to count, but that estimate did not include a number of challenged ballots. A ballot is challenged when a voter does not sign it or the signature doesn't match the one on file. The county gives the voter a chance to submit a new signature to be checked so their vote can be counted. Official results must be certified by tonight.
Delano Mayor Brian Osorio conceded on social media last night. Osorio lost his race for the Delano City Council, coming in third place behind Liz Morris and Maria Nunes Jr. Only the top two vote getters will take a seat on the council in the new session. Osorio posting this message to Twitter last night, saying in part, quote, "It is clear I fell short in my bid for re-election for the Delano City Council. As I close out my term this month, I'll reflect on the many good memories I made with friends as a council member and a mayor as we go into good trouble to advocate for young people and families in Delano."
The end of the year is fast approaching, and Congress still has a lot on its plate before the new session begins. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington with more.
Maddie, the clock is ticking. Congress must reach a budget deal by the end of next week to avoid a government shutdown. It's crunch time on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers must pass a spending bill before December 16th or risk a government shutdown. Democrats want to set the spending agenda before Republicans take control of the House next month.
We hope to get an omnibus done of the spending bill for the whole next year to avoid the problem of McCarthy having any control.
Republicans want a short-term deal instead.
We don't even have an overall agreement on how much we're going to spend, and we're running out of time.
The clock is also ticking on authorization of the military's budget. There are holdups over issues including ending the Defense Department's COVID-19 vaccine mandate and funding for Ukraine. Administration officials say stalled talks could have negative impacts across the board.
It goes well beyond Ukraine.
Another issue rounding out end-of-year calendar deadlines, the release of the January 6th committee's final report. Members say we could see criminal referrals soon.
Obviously, the former president was at the center of the effort to overthrow the government. So it would be foolish for me to say, that's not something we're looking at.
The January 6th committee will offer recommendations and possible legislation to prevent something like this from happening again. Referrals from the January 6th committee carry no legal weight. It's up to federal prosecutors to decide whether to pursue charges. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for 17 News.
And back here at home, it's finally happening. The Kern County World War II Veterans Memorial Committee is unveiling the Kern County World War II Veterans Memorial at Jastrow Park this Saturday. Now, the memorial has been under construction since June, and on Monday, a beautiful bronze statue, the centerpiece of the memorial, was set in place. Saturday's festivities are free and open to the public, with VIP seating available for World War II veterans. World War II veterans should call Wendy Ward at 619-3070 to RSVP. For up-to-date information, visit their website at KernCountyWorldWar2Memorial.com.
KGET partnered with the Children's Miracle Network and Bakersfield Memorial Hospital yesterday for our annual Miracles on 34th Street Day of Giving. The goal was the same as always, to enhance medical care for kids right here at home so they don't have to travel hours away for treatment. The people of Kern County showing their incredible generosity once again.
Six figures, we'll take it. Yeah. We'll take it.
$102,554 and counting. The pledges started coming in at 5 a.m. and continued for 14 straight hours. Organizers are still counting, and we hope to have another update for you later today. But thank you, everyone, for giving to CMN in the spirit of the Golden Empire.
Making news around the state, the search for a Bakersfield teen missing since Tuesday has ended in San Luis Obispo County. SLO County deputies found the 17-year-old boy's car in the Pirates Cove parking lot Tuesday. They searched the area with a drone and then returned yesterday morning and found the boy in the water. Rescuers swam out to the teen and brought him back to shore where his family was waiting. And officials say the teen was evaluated by medics and returned to his family.
California's minimum wage is set to increase at the start of next month, but despite mounting inflation, it will be the smallest increase since 2018. The new minimum wage for businesses in the state, regardless of the number of employees, will increase from the current rate of $15 an hour to $15.50. It will be the first time since 2018 that the minimum wage did not increase by $1 at the start of a new year. Under current state law, the quickest minimum wage in California could reach $18 an hour would be 2028. That would only happen if inflation reached or exceeded 3.5% for 5 years.
A bill just introduced at the state capitol could have major implications for Californians' burden in student debt. The legislation would exempt people who qualify for the federal student loan forgiveness program from having to pay state income taxes on their forgiven debt. But a Capitol correspondent, Eaton Wallace, explains the proposal must clear some hurdles before it can become law.
The senator who co-authored the bill says it will drastically help Californians, but just getting the legislation to the finish line will depend on factors well beyond the halls of the state capitol.
It's a very important piece of legislation.
Democratic State Senator Steve Glazer speaking about his new bill he says could help millions of college graduates throughout California save money.
We're actually trying to reduce their burdens.
That, he says, is because new legislation he introduced would exempt Californians who qualify for the Biden administration's federal student loan forgiveness program from having to pay state income taxes on their forgiven student debt. The president's plan seeks to cancel up to $20,000 for over 20 million borrowers nationwide, including some 3.5 million Californians. As it stands right now in California, that forgiven debt would be taxed as income. Glazer hopes to change that.
Well, you have students or former students who are saddled with tens of thousands of dollars in debt from their college education, and we shouldn't have them pay taxes on that in a situation where they're struggling as they are.
Glazer says the bill has bipartisan backing and overall support from the governor, but must first clear key hurdles. First, because it is a tax-related bill, instead of a simple majority, it needs 2/3 support from both legislative chambers. Second, and importantly, the Biden administration's student loan forgiveness program is on hold right now after several Republican-led states brought it to court, arguing the president's program exceeded his authority. It's now up to the United States Supreme Court to make a final ruling on the fate of the student debt program. Glazer says if the court green-lights the program, that would be welcome news for his bill.
We're going to pass this legislation and prevent this taxation from happening on these former students.
And this is considered an urgency bill, meaning if everything goes according to plan and it's signed into law, it will go into effect immediately. Reporting here at the California State Capitol, Eaton Wallace, 17 News.
And now to making news around the world. Germany authorities arrested dozens of people in a sweeping crackdown yesterday, accusing them of trying to overthrow the country's government in a coup. Kelly Kobilas has the story.
In early morning raids across Germany, thousands of police officers at more than 100 locations arrested 25 people. Authorities say they were planning a violent overthrow of the German government in a far-right extremist plot. Prosecutors say the suspects had acquired weapons, organized weapons training, and intended to storm the German parliament building. The suspects are followers of conspiracy myths, including QAnon, this federal prosecutor said. He said the arrested suspects, primarily German nationals, but also including one Russian national, formed a shadow government to put in place should they succeed in overthrowing the German government, which they believed was run by a so-called deep state. Among those arrested, a suspected ringleader from a historic royal family, as well as German military veterans. Germany's interior minister said the depths of the organization's structure remains under investigation. The group had a political and military arm, she said, showing the danger of this suspected terrorist organization. Arrests were made across Germany, as well as one each in Austria and Italy. Some suspects making their first court appearance today, in the wake of one of the biggest counterterrorism operations in German history. Kelly Kobiella, NBC News.
Your time now is 5:34. Emotions ran high during a sentencing hearing yesterday when a woman who drove drunk, causing a deadly crash, turned to face the victim's family while apologizing. The family, though, replying, "Turn around and look at the judge. You killed my mother." Those words came from Didi Delirme, daughter of Imogene Flippen. 3 other members of the Flippen family addressed the court, speaking for nearly an hour about their loss and what they perceived as Ariana Hernandez's recklessness and uncaring, insincere attitude. Hernandez pleaded no contest to 5 felonies in connection with the August 2021 crash on Olive Drive. Reports say her blood alcohol content was twice the legal limit. The judge yesterday sentenced Hernandez to 1 year in jail, followed by 1 year in a residential treatment program for alcohol abuse. The ruling outraged the Flippens, who called the resolution, quote, sickening. A former California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation lieutenant was sentenced yesterday to a year in jail after pleading no contest to trying to set up a sexual encounter with someone he believed was a 13-year-old girl. Jose Donaciano Valdez received 2 years probation, the first year to be served in custody, and must register as a sex offender for at least 10 years. Valdez was one of 19 people arrested in an online sting operation conducted by the sheriff's office in April. He retired from the CDCR following his arrest.
The South Kern Family Justice Center held a grand opening ceremony for its new location in Lamont yesterday. The center works to help victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, and human trafficking with economic assistance, reporting and prosecution, restraining orders, and much more, all under one roof. Now, the overall goal is to make the information, counseling, and service both available and accessible to families when they need it most. This new location will do just that for families who couldn't make it the trip to Bakersfield.
It's just a little bit too far, and people don't drive distances to get this type of help. So we took a look at it and decided to open a family justice center here. Centers like these have been proven to help families in crisis.
The South Kern Family Justice Center can be found within the Lamont Courthouse on Main Street.
Bakersfield police are asking for help this morning identifying a man they say is responsible for graffiti on Baker Street. The incident allegedly happened November 18th. Photos appear to show a man spray painting a white fence with dark-colored paint. The suspect's described as having long black hair with shaved sideburns and brown eyes. Anyone with information should call police. The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.